Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be taking a look at and organizing Now or Never, designed by Ryan Lockett and published by Red Raven Games. This is a fully sleeved copy of the game with no lid lift that is organized in order to get gameplay started as soon as possible. It is designed to play the original part of the game. You're not going to be including any of the campaign components, but it is set up for when you're ready to start that campaign. With all that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow. Let's get started with organizing Now or Never. First off, we'll lift the lid here, and inside you'll see that we have the rulebook draped on top. Now, underneath this rulebook, we also have a couple of printouts. I'll leave links in the description below for these, but the first thing I want to talk about is a score pad. We have a paper one, if you prefer that, as well as a pencil to go along with it. Or if you'd like, we also have these nice laminated dry erase copies. You can use a small little dry erase pen. That way you can mark off your score and then erase it, so that way you're not wasting any paper. Once again, I'll leave a link in the description below for these score sheets. In addition to the score sheet, there's also a common criticism of the game that it's a little bit too long. So there's actually official shorter game variants. And once again, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can print off a copy for yourself. Underneath that, we have a variety of bags and tiles and cards, and we'll kind of go into them section by section. So let's start on the bottom and move up. So first off, in this bottom left section here, we have all of our cards in the game. These are going to be sleeved with the standard European board game size sleeves. We use the Fantasy Flight Purple. I'll leave a link in the description below for these, but you're going to have them all just stacked in this bottom left corner. You don't need to put them in a box or anything because it is going to be pretty snug fit in here, but they should hold all of your different reference cards as well as your different quest cards based on the types, and you'll just organize them by type. So reference cards, and then the backs here have additional symbols to differentiate the different quest types. And you'll just have those in the different stacks, shuffle them up, and then put them on the table. Up next, we have the different bags for the characters. You're going to have 4 of these. That's going to contain the die for the character, the health marker, the mana tokens, your starting coins, your movement markers, your specific buildings, as well as your level up track that's specific to the character. For example, this one's all for Namel, and you can see his character standing here. You're going to have all of those components in one bag. The bags that do come with the game are a little small, so if you want to, you can get bigger bags, but they do work fine. These are those current bags. So you put all of those in for one, as well as those resource trackers. Everything should fit nicely for the 4 characters. So there's second bag, our third bag, and our fourth bag. Now these are a little chunky, so they'll kind of fall in on that bottom right side here and keep everything nice and tight. Up next is our random draw bag here, and it's going to contain all of our refugee tokens. You'll only be pulling out about 6 of these at a time, so it's nice to have them just in a bag here, so you're not having to put anything face down. You just simply open up the bag, draw 6, place them on the table, and then you'll put the bag next to the spot where they're going to spawn. So I really like these microfiber draw bags. These are specifically from BGG, but I'll leave a link in the description below for you to find them yourself. Continuing on this right side, we have all of our starting buildings, as well as your starting assistants, and the first player marker and the round marker. Just be careful when you are organizing the game at first. The assistants have this special back with this little sun, and when you're doling them out to the players, each player is going to get one that fully heals, as well as one that's going to let you construct a building. Now all the others will be returned to the bag here, and then you'll be ready to get going. Underneath that bag, we have a bag for all of your campaign components. You will not need this unless you are playing that story mode, but when specific scenarios call for specific tokens, you can go in here and get the appropriate one. Once again, you will not need this for the standard mode of play, but it may call for them later as you play. All your campaign components will go in here. Now we move on to all of these tiles here. We have all of your assistants that you'll be playing with during the game. You'll shuffle these up and then place them face up on the board, 4 of them at a time. And then next we'll have all of your different abilities. They come in 2 different colors. You have the blue abilities and the red abilities. You'll shuffle them by stack and then put up the appropriate market for each. Now you could, if you wanted to, put these into microfiber bags, but I think that they're pretty non-intrusive by being these stacks, and it's easy to just pull one off from the top here. I also like how they fit nicely on this right side. You do have some choices though how you want to store them. And lastly, we have all of the different creatures. You're going to want to make sure that you stack these in a specific order. Each of the creatures has a little number on the top here that indicates their strength, and you're only going to put out a couple of them for each strength level based on the number of players you're playing. So organize them by that strength level, and then that way you'll be easily able to populate the board with them at the start of the game. We've got a silica gel packet in here for freshness, and then we've got a bag that has all of your solo cards. So all the solo components are in this game are just more cards, and so whenever you're ready to play solo, you'll open up the bag, shuffle these up, and you're ready to go. Underneath those solo components, you have all of the chapter books. These are going to be if you decide to play the campaign mode. They'll replace the story markers in the game and have you actually doing different events. Up next, we have a small organizer, and these are actually the hardware storage case. You can get these from the Dollar Tree. Once again, a link in the description below for these. I really like how you just simply open the top here, put it on the table, and you're ready to go. There's no additional fiddly setups, no bags you have to open. They are fantastic, and I love how flat these are. Let's take a look inside this small organizer. Now, we do have the deluxe edition of the game that was pre-ordered, that came with additional components. You've got your 1, your 5, and your 10 coins here, as well as your different contract tokens. You can leave these in the box, or you can shuffle them up and put them on the board. It's up to you. But then you also have these search tokens. You'll randomly put them away here, and then when you're ready to populate the board at the start of the game, you put them with this side face up. We've also got your experience tokens, your mana gems in case you do get more throughout the game, as well as your markers that allow you to move and activate different things on the board during the traveling. Underneath that small organizer, we have all of our player boards for the different characters. They've got their mana tokens here, the track for their health, you've got your red and blue abilities, your movement markers, as well as space for the different assistants up on here. You'll put your 2 starting assistants here at the start of the game, but pick the one that you find interesting. You've also got a passive ability down at the bottom that you can activate, as well as a cool little blurb for your story. Very, very neat. I love the artwork on these. Underneath your player boards, you'll have the market board, which not only tracks the seasons or the rounds in the game, but also shows you the rate at which you're going to be converting goods into cash. You also have a space where you're going to be putting those refugee tokens. You'll put them out of the bag and put them on the board here. You also have those spots for those different items. You've got those blue items as well as those red items, and then you'll put the stacks on the top here. If you are playing the campaign, you'll use this side with the fire symbol, but if you're just playing that normal mode, keep it on this side. Underneath that, we have our game board, as well as our different player boards for the different characters. Now, these in particular are for the different buildings. You'll be building on this bottom row first, and then building out. It's also going to be tracking all of your resources down here. We'll have one of those for each player. And lastly, we have our campaign tracker sheet. This is going to be logging the different campaigns you go on, as well as the different characters and how they've done on each chapter. You'll have your total be able to bank there, and kind of have a history here that is written from your adventures in Arzium. And that's everything inside of the box. Let's go ahead and pack it up. Now, first off, we're going to go ahead and put that campaign sheet on the bottom, followed by our player boards for the different buildings, and then our main game board. We'll then place our market board on top of that with the regular side face up, and then our player boards on top to the left here. We'll then put our small box organizer in this left corner, followed by our different storybooks, and then lastly, the solo cards on top. We'll also take all the cards and put them in this left corner here. We'll also place our monster tokens, our assistant tokens, as well as our new gear tokens, all on this right side here. We'll take all the campaign tokens and put them on the left, our used in every game tokens on top of that, all of the bags with all of the player components in these large section in the bottom right, as well as this main section here for one of them, our refugee tokens filling in that small space here, keeping those tiles nice and snug in the right, a silica gel packet, a dry erase marker, as well as a pencil for scoring on those written notepads. The paper score markers, our Now or Never official shorter game variants, the dry erase Now or Never score pad, and lastly, the rulebook. And that is organizing Now or Never. If you have any questions about what you saw here, please let me know down in the comments below. How do you organize your copy of Now or Never? Is this one that you're excited to try? Have you pre-ordered it? Did you get the metal coins? Have you started the campaign? Which character will you play? Is this your favorite in the trilogy, or are you apprehensive about starting this new story? We'd love to hear what you think, but thank you so much for watching SideGame Strong.